Welcome to Living in Indianapolis, Indiana. I am Evan Deal, and I'm going to be your host today as we walk through the map view of Fishers, Indiana. We're going to walk through the area, show you what it looks like, give you some insights on some of the neighborhoods and real estate market, as well as some of the cultural touchstones of this growing suburb of Indianapolis. But before we get started, make sure you hit the like button on this video if you like what you're seeing. Hit the subscribe button so you can stay in touch with us and make sure you're getting the latest updates on Fishers as well as the rest of Indianapolis, and ring that notification bell so you're the first in the know on what's happening in the 317. Now let's dive in. All right, so let's take a look at Fishers on the map relative to the rest of the city. If we zoom out and look at all of Indianapolis, you can see Fishers outlined here. It's in the upper right part of the city, the northeast. It makes a huge part of the northeast. It's just to the east of Carmel, near Westfield, just south of Noblesville, and the two actually connect on the southern part of Noblesville, northern part of Fishers. It's around Geist. In fact, Fishers is about half of Geist. Geist is split into Indianapolis and Fishers, and it's near McCordsville, Fortville, Pendleton. It really serves as that true northeast corner of the city. So if we zoom in and take a look, you can see it's pretty encompassing. Here's Geist Reservoir down here in the south. The major road in terms of interstates that goes through Fishers is I-69, which is going to take you through the northeast. And that really goes through the heart of Fishers, and you can keep going on up to Pendleton, up north. We also have 37 going north to Noblesville. And those are going to be your major sort of highways throughout Fishers. And it's very easy to get around Fishers. That 69 corridor is going to take you wherever you want to go. And a lot like Carmel, the cross streets are really well laid out and with traffic flow in mind to help you get around quickly east to west as well. So if we zoom in on Fishers here, let's take a look at some of the areas of interest. As I mentioned earlier, of course, there's Geist Reservoir. So you can see where the cutoff is for the Fishers parts of Geist. It's about the northern half of it. It includes things like Geist Waterfront Park. You can see all the way down here to some of the smaller commercial areas of Geist actually are in Fishers. But that's not really the main part of Fishers, right? That's truly Geist. And if you want to see more about Geist, you can check out our Geist map video and our Geist pros and cons video as well. Some of the highlights of Fishers are all the parks that are around. There's some really amazing parks. You have the Ritchie Woods Nature Preserve, just huge sprawling area. There's hiking trails. There's plenty of green space. The Roy G. Holland Memorial Park. They've got volleyball. They've got sports. Once again, green space galore. If you want to look at like a performing arts venue, just to the north in Noblesville, you have the Ruoff Music Center. That's one of the major concert venues around Indianapolis. It's an amphitheater with outdoor, like a lawn area as well. So there are really major acts of every genre that come through there. Most of the concerts you see in Indianapolis are going to be there or downtown at White River State Park or in Gainbridge Fieldhouse where the Pacers play. And sometimes people come to Lucas Oil as well. Another area I want to show off in terms of parks is the Flat Fork Creek Park. It's absolutely enormous. It's got a lake. It's got places where you can hike. It's got mountain biking. It's just really tremendous amount of enjoyable outdoor space that you can check out within Fishers. You can see it's a little bit over more in the Fortville area, but it is right there on the border. Definitely something that's worth checking out. Holland Park is another example. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up here. And if you want to check it out, it's actually in the northwest part of Fishers. It's a little bit of a smaller park, but there is plenty to do there, and it actually has a sister city in the Netherlands. And so you'll see that reflected here with a Dutch windmill, which is really neat. And there's also a tulip festival here. So really playing into that sister city from the Netherlands. So the downtown of Fishers has really been developing over time. There's been a lot of effort by the city, which now has over 100,000 people, to find its own unique identity. So you'll notice within Fishers, some of the housing, it has plenty of new builds still going up, and that have been going up over the preceding years. But what it's really worked hard to do, the planners within the community, is give Fishers a unique feel so that it's not just another suburb around Indianapolis, and that it stands out not only in Hamilton County, but in the larger Indianapolis area. So if we zoom in around 116th Street, we've got a couple different areas here. So we have the Nickel Plate District over here, which is kind of true downtown Fishers. There's so much to do. There's a lot of culture in terms of like having a walkable downtown, having plenty of local shops, local restaurants, and that's something that Fishers has really worked on, of not just having those chain restaurants, but having a local flavor as well, to help it stand out, and not just have the normal things you could get anywhere in the country, but what makes Fishers unique. And then on the other side of the interstate, we also have the Fishers District, this is touched more on those unique restaurants. There's also really high-end apartments here as well, but this whole area has really developed in terms of being a cultural hub within Fishers. Also off of 116th, you have Topgolf. This is the Topgolf for the north side of Indianapolis, and we also have IKEA in the area as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up for you. So there actually is only one IKEA in Indiana, and it's right here in Fishers. So it's actually kind of a cultural experience. When it was built, it was a major announcement in the area. We hadn't had an IKEA here before, and it certainly fits right into the landscape there on Fishers, and super easy to get to. So on the whole, there's plenty to do within Fishers. It definitely stands on its own. It's not the quickest trip downtown. It doesn't take forever to get downtown, but it's not a straight shot downtown. You can see the interstates don't connect here, so you will go down 69 and then you'll utilize 465 to get downtown, and you can get down 465 and 70, depending on where traffic is. But it is a little bit of a trip downtown, but it's not as far away as like a Noblesville or a Westfield. It's a little bit more of a straight shot, but it does take a little bit. And Fisher stands on its own as well, right? It's a major city. It has over 100,000 people. So there is plenty to do within Fishers, especially with all the parks, with Conner Prairie, which is a really fun local attraction, especially for kids, for the Ruoff Music Center, which has major concerts every summer and throughout the year. And there's just plenty to do up there. So it really does stand on its own in the area. All right, now let's take a look at the real estate market in Fishers, which is thriving. So Fishers is going to have a higher than average median home price relative to the larger Indianapolis area. It is considered one of the more desirable places to live around the city. And if you've seen our Carmel video, that's similar. You'll see that the home prices are a little bit less throughout Fishers. I'm not really talking about the Geist part of Fishers, but they are elevated relative to the larger Indianapolis area. So let's take a look. So as with anything, it's going to depend on your neighborhood, the type of home. So out on the west side, we're looking in the threes. This is pretty common for the area. It is above the average in Indianapolis and the surrounding areas. You can see a lot of them are in the mid to high 300,000s. As we move up, you can see we're starting to sprinkle in some fours. There are some higher end ones, but once again, that depends on the neighborhood that you're in. Moving a little bit closer to the north, you can see we're staying consistent in the 300,000s, 300,000s. And there is a lot of similarity to the homes throughout Fishers. Let's dive into some of these. We have 385, we have 360, we have 329. You can see these are houses that in other areas of Indianapolis would probably be priced a bit lower, but because they're located in Hamilton County, in Fishers, they are going to be at an elevated price because it's considered a desirable place to live with highly rated schools, really well-built infrastructure. So you can take the same house that you might have in a different part of Indianapolis, move it up to Fishers, and it's going to be at a higher price. That is expected. So let's zoom out just a bit. We're in the north section now. You can see that pricing has stayed consistent throughout the area. Over here we have threes. We're up in the fours now. So we have some neighborhoods that are a bit higher. So let's dive into this one. We have a 589 here, 615. So 521. You can get up in that $500,000 price range in Fishers, but a lot of the homes you see are in this similar price range, this 300 to 500 price range. Now, if we move down into Geist, if you're off the reservoir, they're going to be a little bit cheaper than if you are on the reservoir. Being on the reservoir, on the water, or very close to it, you can see the prices get into the millions of range. These are much larger homes, and they are at premier waterfront properties. If you've seen our Geist video, we walk through this. But on the whole, you see a lot of homogeneity within the Fishers market, but it always depends on location, right? There are affordable homes in Fishers. If you're looking at a new build in Fishers, you're looking at 500,000 plus, generally speaking, depending on the builder, depending on the community. But they are at a higher price for newer homes. So let's look at some of these. We have 524, 599, 704. These are some newer homes. Let's take a look at this one. So here we have this one that was sold. It's in Grantham. 1 day on market here. All right, only 2. 599. This one's pending in Milford Park. Not on market long. Let's double click a little bit more. 880, 675. Some of these newer communities where you're able to build new within Fishers, those still exist in Fishers, and they're popping up all over the place. But some of the older communities, you can see, you can still get homes for 300,000, 400,000. It's very common within the area. 465. Here's a 740, 745. So you're not seeing the top end luxury homes in Fishers. You're going to find more of those in the Geist part of Fishers. You're going to find that over the ways in Carmel. They do exist in Fishers, but there's a lot more just similarity across the neighborhoods within Fishers in terms of consistency of price, in terms of consistency of the types of homes you're seeing. It is largely built to be single family focused throughout Fishers. You'll see that in the neighborhoods. And it's also designed to be neighborhood focused. It's been very well laid out across the entire area. And you can see that from the map. So just to give you an idea at maybe some of the more luxury options, you can see they're few and far between in Fishers for true $1 million plus homes, which in Indianapolis, that's what luxury looks like. And here you can see we're right near Geist. That's where most of them are going to be, as I mentioned earlier. That's where your top tier real estate within Fishers is. We can zoom out a little bit further. That's where you're seeing it. Now you can get a little bit further out up here, but still you're in the proximity of the Geist area. But beyond that, there just hasn't been much that's been built in that price range, and that's by design. There are other nearby areas of Indianapolis that support that type of luxury real estate. That's not really the vibe of Fishers. The southern part for sure in the Geist area, but most of Fishers is designed more for that higher end and that middle tier type of housing. There are lots of really nice homes, and really there's not a bad place to live in all of Fishers. All the areas are very nice. Crime rate is lower than the state average and the national average throughout Fishers. Both of the major school systems in Fishers, between Fishers and Hamilton Southeastern, are considered to be among the best in the state. And so it is a very desirable place to live. If you're looking for high-end housing within Fishers, you're going to be looking in the Geist area. If you're looking for other high-end housing throughout Indiana, you're going to be looking at Carmel. You're going to be looking at Zionsville, maybe on the south side as well. That is not sort of the specialty of Fishers, but Fishers does have a lot of nice housing available. It's just not that top tier of luxury. Back in 2017, Money Magazine ranked Fishers as the best place to live in America, and there's a lot of good reasons. So let's talk through some of the stats of what makes Fishers an amazing place to live. So the current population is around 105,000. It's actually growing at 1.5%, and there's still room for more growth. There's still new builds going up in Fishers, and the downtown is really developing over time. So we see this population continuing to increase. It really makes Fishers a true city within the area. The school systems are among the best in the state, with Fishers and Hamilton Southeastern ranking in the top 10 of all public schools in Indiana. There's also access to a lot of top end private schools that are within very easy driving distance, either in Fishers or just beyond. Crime rate is lower than the national average within Fishers and lower than the state average as well, based on the statistics. The median household income in Fishers is $126,000, which is a little bit lower than its neighbor in Carmel, but very, very much higher than the national average and the state average, which makes it one of the more affluent areas within Indiana. High school graduation rate is close to 99%, which reflects the overall educational quality of these school systems and their high annual ranking within Indiana schools. Some of the major employers within Fishers include Navient, which is a financial service company, Stanley Security Solutions, First Internet Bank, Community Health Network, IU Health Saxony Hospital, and Fishers City Government. And more companies continue to move to Fishers and to the north side of Indianapolis as a place to not only have a local headquarters, but even a national or international headquarters. In fact, just outside of Fishers is Roche Diagnostics, which technically sits in Indianapolis because it's on the other side of 96th Street, but it is right on the edge of Fishers and is the North American headquarters for a major biotech company. Thanks for joining in this video. We hope it was helpful and giving you an insight into what makes Fishers a great city and how to get around, what the layout of the city is, and some of the houses. If you liked what you saw, be sure to hit the like button on this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell so that you're the first to know every time we upload a video and you can see what's happening around Indianapolis and get to know all of these different wonderful areas to live and see what's going on in the 317. Thanks so much. I'm Evan Deal with Living in Indianapolis, Indiana. See you in the next video.